guys, welcome back to my kitchen. So it is International Week, and this week I am bringing to you a sandwich that is pretty popular in my family. About 4 years ago or so, when Devlin called me for an interview, and I had to go down for an interview, and it wasn't just an interview. I have to show them how I cook, so it was kind of a demo. And I asked him, well, what do you want me to make? And Chef Lawson said, make whatever you want. Why don't you make something from your culture? And so I thought about it. I'm like, I have the perfect thing to make. So this sandwich dates back years, hundreds, who knows how long. And all it is, it's a Mediterranean chicken sandwich. And what makes it so special are spices. So I have all my ingredients here. The most famous spice is something called Sumac, S-U-M-A-C. I'm not sure if you can see the spelling of that. It's a really nice, has a lemony tart flavor. And then 7 spice. Now, every culture, I think, has their own version of 7 spice, but this is the Middle Eastern 7 spice. Okay, it has like cloves and nutmeg and cinnamon, a whole bunch of different spices combined. Okay, of course, salt and pepper. We're gonna use some chicken thighs for this. A couple of onions, some lemon, and then I have some pita bread, just some salt and pepper, and it is absolutely delicious. Every year, actually, our students make this, and usually my mom will come down for a demo, and it's really nice to see her do it in person. And this is the one lab, honestly, that a lot of my students love the most. When I ask them, hey guys, what was your favorite lab? They always say, Chef, it was that one sandwich from your culture. So I'm calling it an open-faced Middle Eastern chicken sandwich. But the real name is this. It's called msakhan. Okay, I don't expect you guys to memorize that or to know that. So this week I am bringing my culture to you, and I really hope that you guys bring your culture to me this week in your labs. Okay, so let's get this demo started. Okay, so here we have a couple onions that I am just gonna peel and dice. This dish calls for a good amount of onions, so I have about 5 chicken thighs and 2 onions here. The caramelization of the onions gives this dish a really nice, sweet flavor. You don't want to skimp out on the onions. You want to add a good amount of onions in this dish. So this is just a quick chop of me chopping my onions. I like to mise en place, so I'm just putting my onions aside in a bowl. Up next, I'm gonna cut and wash my chicken. Now you could leave the chicken in the package, but I always was taught at a young age, and I encourage you guys to do it too. Honestly, it's your choice, but chicken has a more of a fresh taste when you wash it. Just kind of run it through water. I wouldn't necessarily do this with beef, but with chicken and fish, I like to run it through water. And then every time I run it through water, you always want to make sure you pat it dry really well. Here I am washing my hands, of course. You want to take all the water out of the chicken. That way, whatever you're doing, whether you're marinating it or grilling it or saute it like what I'm doing now, there is no water on the chicken. So I'm just gonna carefully dry up my chicken, and I always wash my hands as I go. And so when you're trimming chicken thighs, you always want to take some of the fat out. Obviously, chicken thighs is gonna have more fat than a chicken breast. There's not much fat, actually, no, not a lot of fat at all on a chicken breast unless the skin is on it. Now, I don't completely take off all the fat. I leave some on because it actually has a good flavor. And especially if you're grilling this, the fat's just gonna melt right off, and it gives it, again, a really nice flavor. So I'm not gonna, I'm just trying to trim out the white stuff on the chicken, also known as the fat. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it into strips, and then I take those strips, and then I'm gonna dice them, as you see here. So these are going to be really nice small pieces, like 1/2 inch pieces or so. And again, this is about 2 sandwiches worth of chicken, and you'll see what that looks like in a minute when I put everything on top of the pita after everything is cooked. So that's the chicken fat that I just threw away right now, washed up. And now my pan is ready to go. We turned it on hot. Okay, wait for that to heat up. As you can see, I'm turning on my oven because once the cooked chicken gets onto the pita, it's going to get baked for a little bit. Now you want to put a good amount of oil in this pan. This is about a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of good olive oil. So you really want that flavor of the oil. So I just went ahead and dumped my onions in. I'm starting off at a high heat and I'm sauteing my onions. And this step is going to take about 5 minutes. I really don't want my onions to have a dark color on them. So I just turned it down to medium and just let them slowly wilt. Okay, obviously, you know, it's steamy. I come back, I check on them. They're wilting, meaning they're reducing in size. I keep turning down the heat. It depends on your pan, it depends on your stove. Now what I do now is I push all my onions to the side, let them just kind of hang out there. I put in my raw chicken on the other side. I let my chicken cook for a little bit before I add the spices. I'm letting them cook only on one side for a little bit. So now I'm going to add some black pepper. Like half a teaspoon of black pepper or so. This is the 7 spice that I showed you earlier. It's probably a good teaspoon of 7 spice. Next up is the sumac. Now the sumac is a nice purple spice that has a nice tangy flavor. This is going to change the color of my dish to a nice pinkish, purplish color once everything gets mixed. So I go ahead and marry those two. And as you can see, the dish is turning pink or purple. There are different types of sumac out there. The one I get is from a store here in San Ramon. I think it's called Shish Grill Market. I get all my spices from them. I love their spices. So now with this dish, I turned it down now to about a medium low. I put the lid on and I'm gonna let this cook for about 6-7 minutes or so. And then I'm gonna finish it with a little bit of lemon juice. Lemon juice on chicken is always an amazing flavor. So now I'm just gonna put the chicken on some pita bread. You can put it on naan or flatbread or whatever you have on hand would work just fine. This is not going to take long in the oven, maybe about 3 to 4 minutes or so, just to kind of toast the bread. Now while that's in the oven, I am going to pan fry some slivered almonds. Normally I would like to use some pine nuts, but I didn't have any on hand, and I just had slivered almonds. So I don't really like to take a trip to the store if I don't have to. I put about a 1/4 cup of good olive oil into the pan. And then I go ahead and throw in my slivered almonds. And one of the things with any kind of nut, they cook very quickly, so you want to cook them at a good temperature. I always start on high and then I turn it down to low, and you don't want to walk away from this. You definitely want to keep stirring it so it does not burn. So it does not take long at all. I go ahead and turn it off. That was about 2 to 3 minutes, and then I just left it in the pan to continue to brown, but I removed it from the heat. Now my sandwich has come out of the oven and the edges are nice and crispy. And one tool I really love to work with in the kitchen is my kitchen scissors. So instead of using a serrated knife to cut this, I just use my scissors. I'm going to quarter these, put them on a plate, and we'll top them with the almonds and a little bit of parsley that I already chopped earlier for color and good flavor as well. And there you have it, my friends, msakhan. I love this dish.